Hi friends, now we will discuss about metabolic acidosis. Metabolic acidosis is nothing but pH less than 7.35. Normally it is due to increased acid in the body or decreased alkalis which help in neutralization of acid. If there is decrease in alkalis, there will be no neutralization of acid leading to metabolic acidosis. This the increase in acid and decrease in alkali is mainly by these three steps: due to impaired renal excretion of acid, loss of bicarbonates, that is alkali, from the body. This helps in neutralization of acid, but if it is lost, then there will be metabolic acidosis, addition of acid to the body, extra acid to the body. Normally in few circumstances there will be respiratory compensation. Not in all circumstances there will be compensation. In few circumstances there will be compensation to maintain the pH of the body between 7.35 to 7.45. If there is compensation to regulate pH of the body, then the respiratory compensation is mainly by respiratory alkalosis, that is decrease in PCO2. To compensate metabolic acidosis, there will be respiratory compensation by respiratory alkalosis by decrease in PCO2. The how much there is decrease will be calculated by this formula: 1.5 times H bicarbonate HCO3 plus 8 plus or minus 2, that is around 10. 1.5 bicarbonates plus 10. So if there is no proper compensation according to this formula, if PCO2 is not reduced according to this much calculated form amount, then we can suspect associated respiratory acidosis. If there is no reduction in PCO2 in this amount, then we can suspect as associated respiratory acidosis. Okay, if there is respiratory compensation. Etiology is mainly anion two types according to anion gap. It is non-ion gap metabolic acidosis and anion gap metabolic acidosis. What is anion gap? It is the difference between measured cations and measured anions. What are measured cations is sodium, sodium Na plus, like T. Here also in cation also T. According to this we can remember measured cation is sodium and measured anions are chloride and bicarbonate. So difference between measured cation and measured anions is anion gap. It is normally 4 to 12, 4 to 11. Okay, normally is 4 to 11. Both anion and non-ion gap, in both anion and non-ion gap metabolic acidosis, HCO3 is reduced. Okay, HCO3 is reduced. But in non-anion gap metabolic acidosis, chloride is increased to compensate the decrease in HCO3. So there will be no anion gap. There will be no gap between measured gap, more gap, not more gap than this normal in anion gap, non-anion gap metabolic acidosis, because this chloride is increased to compensate the decrease in bicarbonates. There will be no gap. There will be no much gap. There will be no much gap because chloride is increased to compensate bicarbonates in non-ion gap metabolic acidosis. Whereas in anion gap metabolic acidosis, in increased anion gap metabolic acidosis, unmeasured anions. What are unmeasured anions? I will discuss later. Here in anion gap metabolic acidosis, there will be increase in unmeasured anions leading to decrease in both. There will be already decrease in bicarbonates. Due to increase in unmeasured anions, there will be decrease in chloride also. So decrease in anion gap metabolic acidosis, unmeasured anions are increased, leading to decrease in measured anions like chloride, leading to increased anion gap. So if both chloride and HCO3 are decreased, then there will be increased gap So there will be increased anion gap leading to anion gap metabolic acidosis. Okay, whereas in non-ion gap metabolic acidosis, the chloride levels will be increased to compensate HCO3 level decrease in HCO3 levels. I think you understood. So next we will go to examples of conditions with non-ion gap metabolic acidosis, that is diarrhea, renal tubular acidosis, post hypocapnia and adrenal insufficiency. In diarrhea and renal tubular acidosis, there is loss of bicarbonates. In diarrhea, there will be loss from the stools. In renal tubular acidosis, there will be loss from urine. In post hypocapnia, normally in hypocapnia, there will be reduced carbon dioxide levels. Leading to respiratory alkalosis. To compensate this respiratory alkalosis in chronic hypocapnia patients, there will be metabolic acidosis. If you treat the hypocapnia rapidly, the compensated metabolic acidosis will lead to complications, because if you treat the hypocapnia rapidly, the metabolic acidosis in the body may lead to complications. Okay. Adrenal insufficiency. In adrenal insufficiency, there will like congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Example 21 alpha hydroxylase deficiency. Here there will be deficiency of aldosterone. Aldosterone mainly helps in sodium and water retention, and also loss of hydrogen ions from the body. But if there is no aldosterone, there will be retention of hydrogen ions. Like in adrenal insufficiency, there will be loss of aldosterone leading to accumulation of hydrogen ions in the body, leading to acidosis. And also due to sodium and water loss, also there will be metabolic acidosis. This is also known as hyperchloremic metabolic acidosis, because I already told in this anion gap metabolic acidosis, the chloride levels are increased to compensate HCO3 minus, decrease in HCO3 minus. So this is also called hyperchloremic metabolic acidosis. And there is no increase in unmeasured anions. Like in anion gap metabolic acidosis, there is increase in unmeasured anions, but in non-ion gap metabolic acidosis, there is no increase in metabolic unmeasured anions. Now we will come to anion gap metabolic acidosis and the unmeasured anions present in different conditions. In lactic acidosis, the unmeasured anion is lactate. So I already told, if these unmeasured anions like lactate, if it is increased, these measured anions will be decreased, leading to more gap in more anion gap between cations and anions. There will be more gap, leading to anion gap metabolic acidosis. So here in lactic acidosis, the unmeasured anion is lactate. What are the conditions leading to lactic acidosis? These are shock, hypoxia, different types of inborn errors of metabolism, liver failure. Normally the lactate in the body is metabolized in the liver. If there is liver failure, it will lead to lactic acidosis. In acute severe malignancy also, these malignant cells will use the oxygen and nutrition and fluid of delivered to normal cells, leading to anaerobic metabolism in the normal cells, leading to lactic acidosis seen in acute severe malignancies. Drugs like propofol, metformin, nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Also intestinal lactic acidosis can be seen in intestinal bacterial overgrowth, like in short bowel syndrome due to small bowel dissection. There will be intestinal bacterial overgrowth. These produce lactic acid, leading to lactic acidosis. Next is next example of anion gap metabolic acidosis, ketoacidosis, seen in diabetic ketoacidosis. Here in diabetic ketoacidosis, there is increase in acetoacetic acid and beta hydroxybutyric acid. Here the unmeasured anions are acetoacetic acid and beta hydroxybutyric acid in diabetic ketoacidosis. Decay ketoacidosis also seen in starvation ketoacidosis and kidney failure. Next is poisoning. Next example of anion gap metabolic poisoning, seen in salicylic acid poisoning. Here the unmeasured anion is salicylate. Methanol and ethylene glycolate poisoning. Methanol and ethylene glycolate poisoning. Here the unmeasured anion is formic acid, and other poisonings leading to metabolic acid and anion of metabolic acids are taurine and paraaldehyde. Okay, this is the etiology of anion gap metabolic acidosis. Next we will come to clinical features. Clinical features, that is complications usually in moderate to severe metabolic acidosis, that is pH less than 7.2. What are the complications? Are impaired cardiac contractility leading to cardiac failure, hypotension and shock. Cardiac contractility will be impaired. Increased risk of arrhythmias, vasoconstriction of pulmonary vasculature leading to PPHN, persistent pulmonary hypertension of newborns. Insulin resistance might be there. Failure to thrive is seen in chronic metabolic acidosis, like in chronic renal failure and renal tubular acidosis patients. There will be chronic metabolic acidosis leading to failure to thrive. This might be the symptom of presentation of this renal tubular acidosis and chronic renal failure. Failure to thrive might be symptom of presentation, initial symptom of presentation, and hyperkalemia is always associated with metabolic acidosis. Okay, how can you diagnose? Diagnosis can be established by history, basic laboratory tests like blood urea nitrogen, creatinine, serum electrolytes. This is to detect acute renal failure. Serum electrolytes can be useful in adrenal insufficiency, acute renal failure, diarrhea, etc. And serum glucose, it can be seen in starvation hypoglycemia can be seen in starvation ketoacidosis. Hyperglycemia is seen in diabetic ketoacidosis. Hypoglycemia is also seen in some types of inborn errors of metabolism, like pyruvate carboxylase deficiency, etc. And also seen in some mitochondrial defects also. Okay, and urine analysis can be useful in DKA to detect ketones. Now after that you should calculate anion gap by the serum electrolytes, and also arterial blood gap analysis should also be done. Calculate anion gap if it is, I also already told the formula to how to calculate anion gap. If it is more than 16, highly suggestive of anion gap metabolic acidosis. Okay, next we will come to treatment. It is treatment is mainly to eliminate the cause and treat the cause. Now we will see how to treat the different type of causes. In type 1 RTA, that is distal RTA, bicarbonate bicarbonate here is 2 to 4 milliequivalents, whereas in proximal RTA it is around 20 milliequivalents per kg per 24 hours. In distal RTA it is less. In distal RTA, type 1 RTA, bicarbonate is 2 to 4 milliequivalents per kg per 24 hours, whereas in type 2 RTA, proximal RTA, the bicarbonate's loss is more, so we should supplement more bicarbonates, around 20 milliequivalents per kg per 24 hour, whereas in type 1 distal RTA there will be less bicarbonate loss. 2 to 4 milliequivalents per kg per hour is per 24 hour is sufficient. Shock hypoxia, which leads to lactic acidosis, can be treated by fluid resuscitation, oxygen supplementation and ventilation. Diabetic ketoacidosis, insulin. Diarrhea, treat dehydration, oral dehydration therapy. Chronic renal failure, long-term base therapy is useful. Adrenal insufficiency, fluid resuscitation, sodium supplementation, because fluid and sodium are lost. And salicylate poisoning, alkali administration is useful. Alkali administration is useful to offer alkalinization of urine. This will be helpful in salicylate poisoning. In methanol and ethylene glycol poisoning, fomepizole is the antidote. Ethanol is older antidote, but now fomepizole is a newer antidote which is recommended. Associated respiratory acidosis. If there is associated respiratory acidosis with metabolic acidosis, then instead of bicarbonate you can use THAM, which is tris hydroxymethyl amino methane. This is THAM can be used if there is associated respiratory acidosis along with metabolic acidosis, because if you treat with bicarbonates, then respiratory acidosis might lead to complications. So you should treat with TAM. In IEMs like propionic acid and pyruvate carboxylase deficiency, bicarbonate supplementation can be given. In severe metabolic acidosis, the bolus of 1 milliequivalents per kg of bicarbonates in the emergency situation should be given. In severe metabolic acidosis, the bolus of 1 milliequivalent per kg sodium bicarbonate should be given in emergency. In chronic metabolic acidosis, sodium bicarbonate tablets or citrate solutions like sodium citrate, potassium citrate can be given. These will be converted into bicarbonates in the liver, sodium citrate and potassium citrate. In chronic metabolic acidosis, these oral solutions or tablets can be used. Whereas in severe acute emergency situations, 1 milliequivalent per kg of sodium bicarbonate bolus should be given slowly. Bicarbonate therapy is not indicated in lactic acidosis and diabetic ketoacidosis. It is not indicated because here it's mainly due to hypoxia and fluid loss. So you should treat hypoxia by supplementing oxygen and also fluid loss. And in DKA, the pathology is mainly insulin, so you should supplement insulin. So bicarbonates are not indicated, and it can worsen because sodium bicarbonate can cause hypernatremia and fluid overload, worsening lactic acidosis and DKA. So never give bicarbonate therapy in lactic acidosis and DKA. Treat those conditions by fluid resuscitation and also insulin in DKA. In severe DKA with severe metabolic acidosis, HCO3 can be used by monitoring very carefully. Hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis in severe refractory cases of metabolic acidosis. So this is about metabolic acidosis. I know the video is long. If you have any doubts, please comment in the comment section, and if you like my video, please press the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. If you want any more videos, please post in the comment button. I will try to explain you in detail. Thank you very much.